Welcome to Marine Optimization channel, previous known as Adventure Story. I'm still here, still with you, the same person with the same motivation to explore some additional things together. Today it's 28th of January, and I had a really, as I think, great idea to do such a video. Because as you have seen, we have deep dive in a lot of maintenance, which is related with a lot of machineries on board the vessel. We have seen a lot of different scenarios, running scenarios also in the simulations as well. And I have shared, let's say, hundreds of videos, which is based on experience with combination of the theoretical knowledge, the technical knowledge. But one thing also that will help you a lot, and it stands as information, and as I'm continuously searching new ways to share of how the things should work on board the vessel in a such way that it actually helps you to make your job easier. I'm always saying, when you deep dive on any kind of profession, if you would like to be and reach the most highest level of competency in one direction or another, you have to continuously and relentlessly purchase that excellence. So today we will look around about positions, about the chief engineer position. We will look something interesting about engine of watch, which I'm sure that it will be interesting. And for sure, I hope also that you stay here until the end. Probably we will not finish that in one video. We'll make a second video, a third video, and separate it, let's say, in some intervals, so it will not be so much overloaded. But you know, if you have a couple of coffee, if you have a couple of tea, it will go much better and easier. I have also one with me here. And what I will do, I will look on the text here, and also I will see how it reflects also on board the vessel. Is it a text written by a Swedish organization? And much probably, for sure, before I read the text, I have not seen the text. I'm 100% sure that they have done an incredible job. I'm 100% sure, just from the name of the nation as Swedish. I know they're looking the things on different perspectives, different approach, and we will combine that information with what actually are on board. So we will combine two things. Does this information reflect or not? Or what is the difference of this information that we will get from the vessel itself? Okay, let's start and look from chief engineer. So we will go from page 5 to 7. Let's go what important is for chief engineer to know. For sure, many of you, maybe you are just starting, let's say, from fourth engineer or oiler or wiper. It does not make sense. If you have your goal, let's say higher, you will get that step by step, and for sure you will have a solid background at the end, reaching the chief engineer level. It is also great, yes, starting from chief engineer, because it's the head of department. And let's start from 101. Here we have shall in consultation with master determine in advance the needs of intended voyage, taking in consideration requirements of fuel, water, lubricants, chemicals, expendables, spare parts, tools, supplies, and any other requirements. Yes, this specific reflection, it in some way summarize what exactly a chief engineer needs to take in consideration. Because as you know, without fuel, without water, without lubricants, okay, without chemicals, you can manage it, with, let's say, some critical spare parts. And this is where it makes a chief engineer performance start to show off, because it's a person which exactly do this thing. He calculates the fuel. Okay, chief, how much fuel we have? Do we have enough fuel to reach from that port to another? Or please calculate for this specific voyage what fuels we will need, how much water we will need. So a chief engineer have to provide this information, both also for charterers, both for the owners, both for captain. And this is where their consultation always for all the things, or any other requirements, okay, because it can be expanded, let's say, much more wider. And this is the reason why I'm saying that, and why I also created this video, is to put you in the way that you start to look on the chief engineer role from the lowest possible ranks. So just ask, just interested, let's say, the second engineer, the chief engineer, what are you doing, or how do you program your structure and all the things. And also some of the things, okay, you can see them, you can, let's say, view them, but you have to ask questions. And this is the way how you will grow, how these things will help you to grow normally, properly, in higher ranks. And I believe also chief engineers have to say, come on here, let's say, Michael, I will show you this thing, and this is the reason why I am doing. Just simple sharing. I always love to share some information with the colleagues that I'm working. Maybe I have seen something. I give them an advice, okay, do this way, do another way, because I have read it, this is the correct way, in order to just share, let's say, the basic things that actually works, and also, let's say, create a safe environment for the people that you're working, and they also learn the proper way. I will never share something that it's not working. It does not make any sense for me, because it does not have any value. I will share something that is actually working, which is tested and based by experience. And this is what I'm actually doing. Let's see 1.2. Shall follow all relevant international regulations, flag state, port state, local, and SMS requirements. So here you can see how deep the requirements can go in the regulation. It is the international regulations, the flag state, the port state, the local, the SMS requirements, ship management system requirements. So it's a really, really wide scope of requirements that chief engineer and most of engineers on board, officers and ratings have to be compliant. So it is a continuous comply with all that requirements. And you have seen, let's say, from the voyages, you have seen how many trainings, how many checks and validations we have passed in order to make sure that we keep these requirements and standards and level of competency continuously. The 1.3 says, shall be responsible for maintenance of all equipment which is under responsibility of engineering department. So the whole responsibility lies for all the equipment. Just imagine, it is more than 140 devices on a tanker vessel. And basically you can count how much small amount of people are allocated for that huge amount of work itself. So it's not only the complicated equipment that we have, because it's pumps, it is automations, boilers, purifiers, diesel generators, main engines, And not only that, not only the maintenance itself, it is also all the operational things that you can imagine that comes with all that equipment. It is not just only the maintenance, as it says here, it is also the operation of the vessel itself. So that is really, really critical, and that's why also I have seen, and from the experience, from additional experiences that I have built in Shell while working, let's say, as marine technical advisor, related mostly with crude oil losses, but not limited on that scope only. And now I evaluate differently the things, and I see that the industry has a huge gap, not only from the view of people, the amount of people that are working there, but also from the view of the amount, but also of what they are able to provide. Because if you can see from here, you understand that it's not only the maintenance, it's also the operation. So directly it expands to another level. Basically, it requires double or triple amount of people being and doing specific things. Because also I have seen from my experience that all the people that are now on board are not enough. Are not enough. If, let's say, for example, we have one person that are not able to do, let's say, a specific job, or afraid, let's say, the heights, or have a problem, let's say, on a closed space, or something else, directly, all this weight is transferred to another person. And there is nobody to assist. There is nobody to give a hand additionally. So that's why it makes much more uh, stressful also for the people that are working there. It creates additional pressure, which most of the companies are not able to understand and to rectify it. So directly we have a transfer of responsibility here for all the maintenance equipment, but it's not calculated properly, in my view, how much amount of people is needed for operating, maintenance, and also to be compliant with all that international regulations, flag state, port state, local, and SMS requirements. From my experience, I remember myself always and continuously running day and night, Saturdays, Sundays, non-stop, to comply and have all the things in mind. This is a really, really strong waste of energy. Really, really strong. Okay, let's not stand that much in that case, but this is my description of how this gap need to be filled. In 1.4, it says it shall report the vessel superintendent any difficulties regarding plant maintenance system. So, as chief engineer are seeing, let's say, some of the things that probably he does not knowing enough or does not have a clear image, it is very, very important that when some kind of these difficulties are faced regarding, let's say, any plant maintenance system, any, let's say, operational, which can affect the vessel directly, the vessel integrity, the vessel safety, and the vessel safe, let's say, voyage, it should be reported. Because what happens then, basically the chief engineer transfers the responsibility, and not only transfer the responsibility, he also shared the responsibility with a wide network of people that are able to provide some additional support. And this additional support is very, very important because it gives additional resources. I don't believe that in a company that really value the transparency, that a company that really value the input that you are doing as chief engineer will not able to provide you proper resources. And this is the main point of superintendency in the company background at shore, that they properly support the people being on board, that they have clear communication in between, they have a clear understanding of each and every position and how to reach them, how to get that assistance as quick as possible and as clear as possible, with clear descriptions, clear instructions that are able easily to be used by the crew and chief engineer itself. So by doing that reporting, everything is shared, everything is transparent, the company is informed in the email, and you keep also that email as proof that you have started and initiated that process of um, reporting things, yes, properly, that it is reported, and you have started already the rectification of that issue or any difficulties which is related with PMS. Then for sure you will get some additional instructions from the company. Okay, chief, you should do this, you should do that, and we will do in that way, we will do in this way in order to make it work. And they will assist you also with the PMS system, how to do things better, that you will not face any penalties as well. But we have to stand in one thing, that is not the penalties that we have to afraid or we have to let's say stay away. The most important thing is the safety and the integrity at all times of the crew, of the environment, of the vessel, and of the cargo itself. So let's go to 1.5. Chief engineer shall ensure that PMS is updated and its included requirements of international regulations, flag state, port state, local manufacturers, class, and SMS requirements. So this is very, very important that the plant maintenance system is updated. It's not having, let's say, jobs overdue. It's properly kept in place, uh, properly and clearly describe all the jobs that they have done. It's properly documented, and as much as possible, let's say, details you are adding to a job, describing as it requires from the international regulations, flag state, port state control, and local manufacturers. It will be much easier to prove as well if there is questions are let's say regarding on the PMS. So one of, let's say, questions that you will be asked, let's say, from the port state control or the class, when you have done, let's say, the last change of filters of your, let's say, oily water separator, okay, for example, and you directly open your PMS system, you just check in the computer, and I believe, yes, most of the systems are really sophisticated, are very easy. Okay, this is the date, this is the filters, this was the old filters, we put new filters. You have also documented it, you have created all the necessary, let's say, work, which is cold work, and all the, let's say, necessary papers that are required. They're filed, they are there in your ship's office or chief engineer office, and then it's ready and easily accessible for any kind of, let's say, inspection or verification. Let's look 1.6. Chief engineer shall ensure that the engineering officer of the watch, EOOW, is informed about all required maintenance, damage controls, or repairs which is be performed during the engine watch. About all required maintenance, damage control, or repairs which will be performed during engineering watch. So, yes, the information, yes, it's very, very important that every engineering officer on the watch is knowing um, all of the information properly, okay? And also that's why we have the chief engineer standing order books where, as you know, let's say most of the times, um, a lot of things are copy paste, okay? They are basically, let's say, the framework. And what can change is, so you have to read it if there's any specific recommendations, requirement that are additionally referred there. For sure, if any changes has been done, all the relevant engineer officers should be informed. And this is the reason why this happened, because they have to have a clear image of what have changed so far before they are taking over the watch, let's say from another engine officer, or the watch just started. Okay, what is the state of the engine room? A good engineer that any kind of engineer, it can be in manufacturing, in the vessel itself, should know what is the previous status that the reliever gives to the next watch. It is really important because then you can have and you can also understand if something happened, what is the cause and what is the reason. So you will not be receiving something which is completely unexpected. Chief Engineer 1.7 shall ensure that any machinery not functioning properly, expected to malfunction, or requiring special service shall be noted along with any action already taken. Plans shall be made and communicated regarding required action. So, as you can see, yes, we have described also on the above that any equipment that is not working properly or expected to malfunction or requires some special service shall be noted along with any actions already taken. So it can be, let's say, for example, an equipment which was working and then we set that equipment off. We have a backup equipment or we have a bypass or something, and we note it. Yes, we write it down, we inform properly, and yes, any plans in place shall be communicated. 1.8. Chief engineer shall ensure that if engine checks are carried out in the unattended machinery system UMS, that SMS procedures are followed and all crew are aware of these procedures. Yes, this is very, very important for UMS operation unmanned. Here it says unattended DS machinery system, that everything, yes, all the SMS ship management system of the company is following yes, the procedures. First of all, yes, it's a quite huge list of checks, yes, that an engineer should undergo. We will deep dive later on that for the UMS operation. But the most important thing is that, and as we done also in our, let's say, companies that we have work mostly are working, let's say, in this similar way. And also one of the things that it's very important that SMS can be found on board as well. You can read it. You can take time, yes, and read it, because it describes for each and every crew what is the procedures they have to follow. It's exactly and clearly stated there. And I remember one of the daily, let's say, checks before the UMS is checking the engine room, verify that all the equipment is working properly. the timing, yes, is exactly before 5 o'clock. Everyone, yes, to unman the engine room, and as I remember, there should be 2 persons attending on the UMS engine room during the night, okay? 2 persons always. And while you are tending down, you should also activate the UMS alarm, both, while you're both. Because if somebody fell down or there is somewhere they fail to reset, immediately starts, yes, the search and rescue operation. You will form the breach, okay, the person is missing. This is one of the main, let's say, aspects that is clearly described in the SMS about the unmanned machinery space system. So read it down. It is clearly described all the positions, but the chief engineer shall ensure that engines that are checked are really comply with all that procedures. 1.9. Chief engineer shall ensure that environment procedures are complied with as per MARPOL regulations, Port State regulations, SECA, sulfur emission controls area, or other local regulations, to be aware when discharge is allowed or not, and any other special regulations for car and training area. Yes, this is one of the things that chief engineers, yes, have to have in mind to comply with all that regulations. That's why most of the companies also send some updates on the regulations. Okay, in that area we should do this. We should not do these things. And also, yes, it's continuously updating. As I have seen also from my experience on board, these things are not stop. They are changing constantly. They are adding, let's say, some new regulations, some new things. So it's continuously changing and evolving, and it should be um, under monitoring continuously. Yes. 1.10. Chief engineer shall ensure that the engine officer on watch follows manufacturer's suggestions when changing between different fuel types or in SECA regions. It's very important, because if for some reason the manufacturer's suggestions are not followed for any reason, there a problem can appear. Yes, for sure. For sure it can appear. And also I have already video about the changeover of the fuels of different types in the SECA regions, how we did it previously. I believe I have started this kind of videos from my third engineer here on this channel, and these videos are still available here on the channel. For sure it is already under membership, but it's exactly saying, okay, this is what you have to follow. And I believe still the way of changing from heavy fuel oil to light oils are exactly the same. 1.11. The chief engineer shall ensure that all engine room crew are aware of serious effects of operational and accidental pollution of environment and shall take all possible precautions to prevent such pollution. Yes, how to do that? Simply you just take your crew and you discuss with them. Okay, people, we have this and this. How we will avoid it? What is the preventions and the precautions we have to take in order to prevent such pollution events to happen? And this is the work, yes, of chief engineer, to ensure that all engine room crew are not only aware but also are prepared, are as much as possible knowing, learning, and understanding how this can impact basis on the decisions that they have taken. So they have to know exactly that if they do any kind of this and the other facts, because okay, some of them are limited, some of them can happen, let's say, accident, but at least they know and they are aware. Let's go to 1.12. Chief engineer shall ensure that the oil water separator is working correctly and all concerned engine room crew are aware of SMS procedure and regulations regarding the OWS. This is imperative as the OWS is one of the most critical items of equipment on board. The PMS should include inspection, cleaning of OWS unit according all associated piping, all engine room operating. The OWS should receive appropriate familiarization training. Operating instructions, operating diagrams should be posted on OWS unit. When sailing from port, the vessel should have a functioning OWS unit on board and sufficient spares to maintain in good condition. Yes, all the things are true, are exactly yes how I have seen also on board. Yes. The PMS, yes, includes a replacement of the filters. Mostly it is related with the filters. Familiarization, yes, it should be done properly. How to test the equipment, how to do the alarm test, the cleaning procedure also of the sensors, how to properly clean them, and also the training should be also a little bit advanced in my opinion. I have done also a specific video for OWS separately, how it works, what problem it has, how to operate it properly, and how to avoid costly downtime as well in the operation. Operation instructions, yes, for sure. Always, even if you are familiar, always have the operating instructions on the wall separator or the diagram so you directly are able to see or even to show, okay, this is the valve, this is how it works. In my opinion, an engineer should know the OWS like his palm. Exactly. It should be the extension of his body. This is how good, yes, the OWS should be known. And when, for sure, when you're sailing, for sure the equipment should be performing, yes. Should be ready to work properly and have also sufficient spare parts, filters, or even a new sensor, let's say, for replacement if something goes wrong. 1.13, Chief Engineer shall ensure that all critical communication is done by closed loop. 1.14, Chief Engineer shall organize the watchkeeping, ensuring that the bridge team members, himself included, are allowed sufficient rest hours in accordance with STCW convention and flag state regulations. This is very, very important. And also, please write down in the comments if you are truly, write in the comments, have sufficient rest on board. Write please in the comments. I would like to see statistically how many of you are rest. And this is important. We will bring this message to the industry and we will show exactly the image that the industry has. These things does not showcase that you are not capable to deal with. It showcases it will showcase that the industry is understaffed. That's all, my friends. It's a clear message without showing your name to the industry. Okay, this is what we have, this is the reality, and the only thing that we are asking from you is to work in a proper way and continue also serving you in the way that is more proper. Another thing, let's see 115. Chief engineer shall issue writing and standing orders and special instructions as necessary. Yes, standing orders are always visible in the engine control room. They're available. It shows exactly what an engineer officer should do and what to follow. And they're always there available for review, for repeat, and also to remind, okay, what I have to look for. 116. Chief engineer shall ensure that there is a climate of encouraging challenges and assertiveness. That's a really important thing, and I believe from all the above, it is the key point that we should have in our mind, that since we have this climate of encouraging challenges and assertiveness, that create with that all motivation that is needed in order to comply with all the requirements that we have read previously. In 117, it says chief engineer shall ensure that the risk assessments and work permits are issued and followed. Yes, as chief engineer, it is good to review and reflect also, okay, what is my second engineer, let's say, doing? What of my third engineers are doing? Are they doing, let's say, the work properly as required, as the SMS stated, or as, let's say, the international regulations or any, let's say, regulations that we should comply with? Are we there, or we should, let's say, introduce a additional training, or we should, let's say, make our people more aware on a specific task or something? And chief engineer also have to input corrective actions, or if he does not know, refer to the office through the established, let's say, closed loop communication. So this is some of the things. It is not limited to that. This is really, let's say, generic things that we have look for, but also it's very critical things that we have seen today. Let's stand a little bit on the chief engineer side today here. Tomorrow or the day after, we will look also on the engine officer on watch, with what things he needs to comply, and this is the way how we will move forward. We will see, let's see also, yes, the rest of the paragraphs. We will see the chief engineer, we will see the engine officer on watch, we will see the ratings, we will see the crew and the watch arrangements, the relieving watch, the checkpoints for safe operation, and that is all. It will be, let's say, take it as, let's say, a training course or a remind course of what knowledge and where we have to focus during our, let's say, operations, during our daily tasks. And this is a little bit about how the things are structured on the vessel itself. It's not limited to that. I'm always saying that it is just a tiny part. It's more than that for sure, and only the reality can reflect the real image of what is happening on board. And as I always says, each and every vessel, it's like an entire separate world that it's only reflect the presence basis on, let's say, the maintenance that the vessel requires, the trading area that the vessel is operating, and also from the characters of the people that the vessel is being, let's say, assembled. Also from the office side, from the shore side, it's very important, yes, the communication, all the things. So that's why it's not the work, it's not the nature of the work itself, it is all the package that you're getting when you're working, let's say, in one of the company. So let's deep dive later on the second part, which I will make a separate video. Until then, enjoy the content here on the channel. Please subscribe, please share the material, and I will see you later for sure with more interesting videos from Adventure Story, Marine Optimization Consultancy, and Mihail. Have a great evening. Bye bye.